Good evening. Thanks for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Christian Garza. Mark has the night off. Tracking a developing story tonight, police continue to investigate an East Central homicide. According to Detective Erdman, the call came in today at around 2:40 p.m. He says one victim was stabbed to death at an apartment complex on the 3300 block of South Thor and East 1st Street. SPD says that they do have a suspect at this time. However, they do not have a suspect in custody at this time. We will continue to get updates as the investigation goes on, and we will update you when we know more. We're learning more about an arrest that's been made after social media threats against Lind Ritzville School District. The suspect is a 14-year-old boy. The district closed all of its schools today just to be safe. The Adams County Sheriff's Office was able to confirm that there was no explosives in the school. The juvenile suspect is accused of making threats, a shooting, and a bomb attack targeting staff, students, and teachers. The suspect had a list of targets. According to the sheriff, the suspect was booked into Martin Hall Juvenile Detention Center. They believe the teen acted alone and there was no evidence suggesting anyone else is involved. Over on the west side tonight, a 15-year-old accused of killing 5 members of his family in their King County home remains in custody tonight. A judge found probable cause to hold him for 5 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The suspect waived his right to appear before a judge today, but we are still learning new details about how the tragedy unfolded. Natalie Swaby with our Seattle sister station has more tonight.
We are not naming the 15-year-old who is being held here in Seattle because he's a minor who has not been charged yet. Today, his case was the focus at this courthouse.
The state is asking the court make probable cause findings for 5 counts of murder in the first degree.
A 15-year-old accused of shooting and killing Mark and Sarah Humiston and their 3 children and injuring a 4th child waived his right to appear.
These are not proven facts, merely allegations.
The court hearing comes one day after a chaotic scene.
I was going to start up there at Medic.
Just before 5 a.m. on Monday, the 911 calls about gunfire started coming in.
Possible multiple GSW.
Leading law enforcement down Lake Alice Road in Fall City,
GSW victim.
where the sheriff's office says deputies made a tragic discovery at a home. King County Council member Sarah Perry issued a statement Monday saying 5 family members out of 7 were tragically killed. She says, "My heart aches for the lives lost and all who are struggling to make sense of this loss right now."
What we want to look at are the details gathered by investigators and what we can show to the court.
Prosecutors say the 15-year-old arrested for the crime does not have a criminal history in King County.
No indication that he's come to the prosecutor's office before, no previous cases, no first appearances. That's unusual to see these kinds of allegations with no previous contact with the prosecutor's office, but that's what we have here.
The serious allegations were the focus in this courtroom today.
They create the highest possible risk to community safety, and I order secured detention.
Prosecutors anticipate a case referral from investigators as early as Thursday for a charging decision, and another hearing is scheduled for Friday. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
New tonight, a federal judge has upheld a Washington law banning the sale of at-home rape kits. The judge dismissed a lawsuit that was brought by a Pennsylvania company that sells them. Legislation was signed into law last year, banning the sale and distribution of self-administered sexual assault kits, in part because it may not give survivors accurate information. Washington's Attorney General argued data from the at-home kits face difficulties being admitted as evidence. Also new tonight, an Arizona judge has granted a request to evaluate whether or not Lori Vallow is competent to stand trial. Vallow has been in an Arizona jail for nearly a year since being extradited from Idaho. She is facing charges in Arizona for allegedly conspiring to kill her former husband and her niece's ex-husband. Since the judge granted that request, Vallow's February 2025 trial date has now been canceled. Vallow is serving multiple life sentences in Idaho after being convicted last year in the murders of 2 of her children and her husband's ex-wife. Thomas Creech is now requesting a new clemency hearing. The petition was filed to challenge the allegation that he is the killer in a California cold case from 1974. Creech's legal team says he had little to no time to address the allegation that came out in court shortly before his last execution attempt. Creech's attorneys say the detectives on the Walker case ultimately ruled Creech out as a suspect. Creech also wants another hearing to address whether it would be cruel and dangerous to try to execute him again. This comes after a medical team was unable to carry out his last execution attempt. Creech is set to be executed November 13th. Alrighty, well, let's switch things over to weather tonight and take a first look at that forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Now, Jeremy, I think it's about that time to start breaking out the hand warmers as soon as the sun goes down. Isn't that right?
Oh, I don't know about hand warmers just yet. We're supposed to freeze for a little bit. You gotta at least just feel the pain of winter slowly settle in. And by the way, we are already down to 41 degrees tonight. Temperatures are falling quickly across much of the inland Northwest. You're in the 30s up in Deer Park already, and those temps are just going to continue to drop. We are doing most of our dropping now as clouds will slowly team in here in the next couple of hours. We're going to see that cloud layer set up right along Interstate 90 in areas to the south. Because of that, I think your overnight lows don't get quite as cold. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll see a little activity in the southern panhandle, an emphasis on southern panhandle and a little. The rest of us, it is all about the sunshine still. Deer Park falling into the 20s tonight, 33 in Spokane, 32 in Coeur d'Alene, mid-30s down across the Palouse. Not all that bad. Tomorrow afternoon, back up in the 50s if you're Interstate 90 or north. If you're down to the south, 40s. Thursday, though, we are all in the 40s as sunny skies return to the region.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think it's perfect time for hand warmers. Anyways, heads up for drivers. Starting tomorrow, construction crews will be resurfacing the Mission Street Bridge. Now, this is in between Mission and Chief Gary Parks in the Logan neighborhood. Tomorrow, only one westbound lane will be open, so expect some significant slowdowns. The detour is on your screen and can be found at our website. The bridges on both Market Street and Trent Avenue are good routes if you want to avoid that area altogether. The bridge should fully reopen by Friday. Now to Nightbeat with a quick look at today's top stories. Tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise was stolen from the Plains Golf Course in Cheney over the weekend. Police say it happened sometime between Friday night and early Saturday morning while the course was closed. It's estimated about $30,000 worth of brand new clubs and putters were stolen after somebody broke in. We spoke with the manager today who says he believes it was strategically planned.
You're out of town this far, you know, a perk of that would be hopefully feeling a little more secluded and safe. And so having like a bigger deal like this, I think just makes people uncomfortable a little bit.
The Plains Golf Course has filed police reports before over smaller petty theft since 2020, but this was the first time they experienced a larger loss. The Pullman Police Department is looking for the public's help identifying suspects in an assault. Just after 1 a.m. on Sunday, police say they responded to an assault in the 900 block of Northeast Colorado Street. They say two men witnessed a group of people fighting and tried to intervene. Police say they were then attacked by a group of college-age men. One victim was knocked unconscious. Police say if you can identify anyone in this group on your screen, give them a call. That phone number is at the bottom of your screen. Tonight, a Spirit Lake family is asking for help after their dirt bike was stolen from a hospital parking lot while their dad was getting surgery. According to a GoFundMe, Joe Stokes, a single dad from Spirit Lake got into a dirt bike accident in Lewiston. He was then taken to Sacred Heart for emergency surgery. Now, while the family was at the hospital, somebody stole his son's racing bike from the back of Joe's truck in the parking lot. Now, they say they filed a police report, but the bike hasn't been found. Tonight, they are fundraising to help him with medical bills. Well, that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website, KREM.com. And that rounds out your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time.